We short armed, we didn't extend, and we tried to draw fouls on the layups rather than just go up and make the layup. And in the second half, we attacked better. We went to the rim better. We weren't going to the rim for contact. We were going to the rim to make the play, make the layup. Because we were more aggressive, we probably got more rewarding at the foul line. And that's what we need to do. We've got to outgrow coming into a game and not being as vocal as we need to be, and understand how long and hard these games are, but most importantly, how long they are. And you've got to keep bringing your very best communication wise. And that, because that creates everything, creates your energy, creates your connectivity, creates everything. And we've got to continue. We've been doing that the last 3 games, but we've got to get that to where it is part of our total habits.
All right, thank you.
Coach, you touched on this a little bit there, but it looked like just the intensity was ramped up considerably, particularly on the defensive end by you guys in the second half. What do you have to do to get that same level of intensity in the first half?
Yeah, I don't know. If I had that answer, we'd have had it. I mean, it's just we've had it the last 3 games. The last 3 games we've played that way. So the sky isn't falling because we didn't have it at one point early on tonight, because we have had it. We just got to understand the level of consistency that it has to be at. And again, it's the challenging shots and it's the communication and transition is what it is. And again, it was much better. We have to play with force for 40 minutes. We have to play aggressive for 40 minutes. And it's amazing. We were playing faster in the second half with less turnovers. And that's just what we have to do. We've got to be able to establish that whether the offense is going or not, we're going to play aggressively defensively.
Okay, up next, let's have Mark Weiser and then Mike Griffith.
Tom, are you more encouraged about how you guys kind of rallied and showed some life late, or discouraged about how things started, I guess?
I don't get either one. I don't ever get discouraged. Then I'm more a realist. What do we got to do to get better and get ready for Alabama? So, but not discouraged at all. And every day I understand what we're capable of more and more. I just want them to understand what we're capable of and how hard it is. But it's a lot harder when you're not as aggressive or verbal as you need to be, and at the beginning. And we've just got to learn to do that. The example I give to them, we can score at the beginning of the clock. We're pretty efficient in the middle of the clock, and we know how to play at the end of the clock. Well, you know what? It's the same things defensively. You've got to have the same level of communication and connectivity in transition in the middle of that clock, so you don't give up something, and then you bear down even more at the end of the clock. And you've got to be able to do it time and time again. Well, the only way you get that done is to have that connectivity that comes through the communication, and it provides a level of energy. And you're spending the game reminding your teammate, or me as a coach reminding them. It's not a lot about new things. It's just reminding them. And when you call out a screen, or you call out ball, or those type of things, that's where we've got to be.
Coach, a couple things. How is Garcia, and as far as KD Johnson, obviously explosive second half, where does he got to grow to get more minutes and more performance?
Well, I think he's been playing a lot of minutes. I think the thing has been he played more aggressively tonight, which kept him on the court, and he didn't have any foul trouble. And when he's attacking like that, KD is, I think I've said this on here before, but maybe not, but KD is a lot like when Anthony Edwards comes in and other guards that I've had that are used to having the ball in their hands all the time in high school. And Anthony was able to work out a lot of that in November and December and understand. So by mid-January, he was really good at moving without the basketball. You could get him on cuts. You could do those types of things. He'd get off the slot. He'd cut out of the corner. He would get denied more than most people we have would, but he really understood the cutting game. Well, it takes time. Well, KD's learning that on the fly. And obviously we work on it in practice while he was practicing, but it's a whole different deal when you're dealing with it in the game. So him being able to move without the basketball, be able to attack with the ball. There were a couple of times in the first half he just didn't attack and just didn't catch it and go. And that's what we want him to do, because he's like a little bull. I mean, he's hard to stay in front of, and he's really hard to deal with when he gets to the rim because of his strength. And he's good like that. But there's too many times he's just standing and waiting rather than attacking. And so it just becomes we're certainly a much better team when he's playing the way he played tonight and in the second half. But it's a learning process. I mean, that's all part of it. He's been eligible for 4 weeks. So it's a definite learning process. And again, in a short season like we have right now, non-conference wise, but then also an even shorter deal for him, those things take time.
Garcia, how
he was able to go back in the game. So he's got an injury, which we'll deal with in his nose. I don't have the exact where we're at in it, but he was able to go back in the game. But he was available to me to go back in the game. So hopefully we'll be able to continue to do that.
Okay, up next, let's have Augusta Stone and then Ryan Curley.
Hey, Coach, in the past after losses, you've talked a lot about belief, having belief that you can win despite, the first half going bad. So I want to know kind of how did you see the team show that belief late in the game in the second half? And how do you think you can build on that energy, going?
Oh, they did show it. They did show it. But we've got to understand that we've got to bring this same type of aggressiveness physically and verbally in the first half, because that's what we've done when we've been successful. It's never about perfect basketball or lack of turn. All those things, they're just part of it. The game is so long. I mean, it's not about that. It is that belief, but it starts with your communication and your level of awareness that you've got to have. So we just keep pointing it out, pointed it out in the locker room tonight, pointed it out at halftime. We'll point it out in film, and we just keep trying to get better and better.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Coach, that Jaden Springer kid was able to score about 30 points tonight, if I'm right. What part of your game plan maybe did or didn't work in defending him?
Well, we didn't get on his right hand enough. I'll give you that without going through the whole game plan, but we didn't get on his right hand enough. He's a tremendous driver. They're a much better team when he's in there, and he got to the rim. So I mean that's the biggest thing. He got to the rim, and then which put him at the foul line. But the biggest thing with him is you can't let him just attack you with his right hand because he's so good with it. And that's really, in a nutshell, what hurt us a few times.
Okay, and the last 2 questions, let's go at Davis Baker and then Palmer Toms.
Hey, Coach, a little bit like Ryan's question, more about the three-point shooting tonight. They were able to shoot 53% in the first half. You guys cooled them down to 42 in the second half. Was it transition defense that led them to shooting so well?
First half it was. First half it was more transition. There were we missed a couple bumps in the zone where our guards didn't bump the bigger guys down, the wings down, but the majority of it was transition.
Yeah, Coach, along those same lines and with transition, 11 turnovers in the first half. What do y'all have to do to cut down on that?
Make better passes, make simpler plays. That's what we got to do. It's singles, not home runs.
Let's take one more question from Jed May.
Hey, Coach, when you look at how your team has performed, throughout this season, how much of their performance within games just comes down to confidence? It seems like in the second half, once they got that little bit of confidence, things kind of flowed from there. How much just comes down to confidence on the court?
I think a lot of it. That's why I'm so adamant about the communication and the talking to one another, because it makes everything go up. It makes everything. It drives your confidence up, drives your energy up, drives your connectivity up. It's the way it's got to be, right? It's the way it's got to be. And getting communication is a universal problem for every coach. Some may have mastered it, but every coach goes through this in this day and age. And eventually they just have to figure out it's really not that hard when you get back, even though it's flying, that you get back, that you look for the open man, that you communicate it, and as you're getting down the court, who's got the rim, who's got the ball, and everybody else is getting into a help position. And we work on it every day, and it has to permeate consistently. And I think the teams in the country where it permeates consistently have a much better chance to win. We've got to continue to drive that because we have had it, and we've had it in pretty good stretches. But I've said this at the beginning, it's that our margin for error because of our lack of size is not real high. So those types of things have got to happen. And then the confidence comes from that. We can't navigate the game and say, well, you know what, I'll be excited because I made a shot or because we made a couple buckets. And it's very natural, whether it's NBA, whether it's college, whether it's high school, whatever it is, you're going to play at a much higher level most of the time when you're scoring or when your team is scoring. But you know what? That's not realistic. You're going to go through ruts. You're going to go through the ebbs and flows of a game. And you cannot let it wander away with your aggressiveness communication wise, your aggressiveness on the ball, and your aggressiveness challenging shots.
All right. Thanks so much, Coach.
All right. Thank you.
And we will have a transcript to you guys shortly. Have a great rest of your night.